Would you be surprised if I told you that almost exactly 50 years after the creation of Captain America, a very similar hero would hit the comic book page? But first, some important context. The year is 1992. Bosnia and Herzegovina declared independence from Yugoslavia, subsequently being attacked by its neighbors. Years later, during 1994, morale and hope among the Bosnian people was starting to dwindle after constant atrocities, death, and the never-ending fear that came with living in that kind of situation. In comes one Yusuf Hasanbegovic, self-proclaimed Bosnian patriot. Yusuf was a successful businessman living in Italy, who, when the news broke out that a war was brewing in Bosnia, rushed back home immediately, signing up to fight on the front lines. During one of his frontline escapades, Yusuf had to get his leg amputated, leaving him unfit to continue serving. Undeterred, Yusuf figured out a new way to raise the spirits of the Bosnian people. Described as faster than Batman and braver than Superman, the people were introduced to Bosnia's first ever superhero, Bosman. Wearing a slick, all-black suit with the emblem of the Bosnian Republic spread across his chest, and completely armed to the teeth. Bosman was inspired by both the spirit of Captain America as well as the aesthetics of the then popular grungy style of superhero design. So, what's the story of Bosman? Within its one issue, we're introduced to the young Bosman, who is immediately described as superhuman, and the complete definition of heroism and morality. We see Bosman training and running through the Bosnian mountainside, where he is described as having a connection to the cosmos, which I'm assuming is what gives him his superhumanness. Anyway, during one of his half-naked sprints through the forest, Bosman overhears some Serbian soldiers talking about how they're going to siege Sarajevo and murder everyone in it. Bosman vows to let the whole city know about this and sets out on his motorcycle. The next few pages are Bosman desperately trying to tell his friends that war is about to come to Sarajevo. All the while, they keep telling him to calm down and think positively, with his girlfriend telling him to just stop thinking about it. Eventually, Bosman's girlfriend takes him to her grandfather, who is described as a very wise old man. While not outwardly described as such, he's clearly meant to be some sort of Muslim scholar. He tells Bosman that he foresees a great calamity befalling Sarajevo soon, but that he also sees a great man coming in to save the day. And Bosman's like, I wonder who that is. The next day, Sarajevo began to be threatened by Serbian terrorists, to no surprise of Bosman. Bosman gets very angry about the situation. Then his girlfriend tells him to calm down, and he does some quick 5-second yoga, I guess. After that, we have even more scenes of Bosman desperately trying to convince people to be worried about a potential war breaking out, only for them to once again shut him down. Bosman finds himself at an anti-war protest which just got threatened by the same terrorists. Frustrated by the fact that the police aren't taking any action, Bosman decides to take them on himself. He blows some of them up, shoots a couple of others, and punches one unconscious. After it's all said and done, he tells his girlfriend that it's the beginning of hell. Ooh. News reports and rumors start circulating about this brave young man that took care of the terrorists. The media dubs him Bosman. At this point, things really start looking up for the guy. The wise man from before invites him over, telling him that he's the people's new hero. The wise man draws a circle, opens up a Quran and chants some Arabic phrases, and suddenly Bosman is struck by lightning, finally making him into a proper superhero, giving him his bulletproof and nuclear blast-proof suit. He's given his next quest, to retrieve the Sword of God's Righteousness. Bosman sets off, gun in hand, to fulfill his quest and to keep Bosnians safe. And that's it. That's Bosman's origin story in text, and it's sadly his only story. The exact circumstances around Bosman's very early and abrupt cancellation is unknown, but it's easy to imagine how distributing a comic book mid-war could lead to some complications. The Bosman comic radiates this sort of authenticity that you don't really find in any other comic book. The final pages are dedicated to the first victim of the war in Sarajevo. And another page is a direct letter to the children reading the comic, telling them to hold on and to keep hope alive, and think of Bosman being out there protecting them from the dangers of the war. The big difference between Bosman and, say, Captain America is that Bosman's journey is a lot more humble, so to say. Captain America is meant to inspire American youth to go halfway across the world to fight America's battles, while Bosman simply wants to do right by his community and keep him safe. I think that's the main takeaway here, that even though this comic book is a piece of wartime propaganda, there's something very human about it that makes it a lot more unique than others in his genre.
Ja imam želju I dan danas da prikažem pravu situaciju. Ovaj Bosman je mogao da bude idealan lik, da nije bio koncipiran ovako, da sam ga pokazao sasvim drugačije. On bi mogao do današnjeg dana, svih 15 godina da egzistira I da prikazuje borbu bosanskog naroda.
Kritičari su rekli da Bosman mnogo podsjeća na poznate junake dječjih filmova i stripova. Treba međutim znati da on nije ni Superman koji leti, niti bilo ko drugi s nadljudskim moćima. Bosman je bio dio stvarnosti i zbilje rata, stripovana projekcija inata, prkosa. Danas nam treba barem nekoliko takvih.
Zato piši, molim te piši, piši o svemu, želim da znam, da li me iko još malo pamti, molim te dušo, piši mi.